Okay. All right, how's it going? All right, guys, so this is, you guys see on your map here, it says CTILT, right? It stands for Center for Turfgrass Irrigation Landscape Technology, okay? Center for Turfgrass Irrigation Landscape Technology. That will be on the exam, probably. I don't know. But anyway, so this lecture, this is going to be part of our next midterm as well, okay? So we're going to kind of go back and forth during our labs and our lectures. And so, but I'll let you guys know ahead of time what's going to be on the exam or not. But this turfgrass stuff is going to blend into our next lecture. Okay. So where you're at right now, you can see if I were to put a little marker here, you are here. We're right here on this little square right here. Okay. So this would be your top or top left. We're right in here. Okay. So this first one here says kikuyu grass. That's what that is. And so we're going to go over all of these different grasses. The first thing we're going to go over here is called the warm season grasses, and these are going to be all along this west side here, okay? And then we'll move along to the cool season grasses, which are on the east side. I guess this would be north, actually. This is the east side, and then we'll move into this area here. We have a small simulated kind of golf course hole. We have a tee, a fairway, and a green, and we'll show you guys that, okay? But what I want to talk about is the difference between cool season, warm season grasses, all right? So first thing you need to know, warm season grasses are just that. They're adapted for hot, dry conditions, okay? And the biggest difference between cool season and warm season grasses is that warm season grasses go dormant during the winter. All right, you'll see here, most of these are not dormant because we haven't had a very harsh winter. Most of the time we do, but you can tell they're not really lush and green. So if you guys walk over here, you can see that some of them kind of look a little off. Maybe you would think that they're a little bit dead. Well, they're not dead, but they are dormant, okay? There's some green within them. That's because we've had pretty warm days as well, okay? So this first grass here, you guys can come down here and take a look. What I want you to notice here is you see like there's these little white things here, okay? Remember we talked about the flower of the plant, and then there's the male part, which is the stamen, right? Okay, and then it has the anthers and the filaments. So these little white things here, okay, these are the filaments. And then if you look on the end, if it doesn't fall off, right there, you see that? Okay, it's kind of hard to see, but the anthers are right there, that little yellow portion, and under that. So that's very unique to kikuyu grass, okay? This is kikuyu grass, not kick your grass, right? Kikuyu grass. And some people will call it kikuya, but it's pronounced kikuyu grass. And so it's very iconic for kikuyu grass to show those anthers. And in the morning, if you have a large stand of kikuyu grass, it'll look kind of like frost on top, right? Some people like that look, many people do not. Kikuyu grass is on the USDA's noxious weed list because it is very invasive, right? So invasive that I would say 50 to 60% of most tall fescue lawns in Southern California the majority of them are actually kikuyu grass, and people don't even know it, okay? Because it mows pretty well for most of the year, okay? But kikuyu grass, like most warm season grasses, is a stoloniferous and rhizomatous grass. Okay, what does that mean? That means that it creeps and runs on the ground, right? You guys see this little piece that's coming in here? I can pull it up. Okay, and you see what happens? This will actually run, and every little node underneath here will actually, as it contacts the soil, will put down roots and it will creep out. You can see over here on this edge, it's doing that as well. Okay, and then as it starts to warm up, this is the cold season, so it's not growing as much as it normally would. But you can see under here, there's roots under there. You see that? They're just starting to go, and they're going to tap in. And that's how it'll do. It'll creep and it'll run. All right, and that's kikuyu grass. So a lot of people say, well, how do you identify kikuyu grass? It has these very aggressive runners, and it looks like Bermuda grass on steroids. Okay, it's very strong, it's very thick. And when you go look at Bermuda grass, which it should be, it's looking okay, but anyways, you look at Bermuda grass, it's very thin. This is kikuyu grass. Some people don't like it. It's a little bit itchy, okay, but not as itchy as you would think as tall fescue. All right, so it's got kind of a limey green color. It fills in very nicely, but it also tends to scalp. And if you guys know what scalping is, basically scalping is when you cut the grass a little bit too low, below the photosynthetic canopy, it turns brown, okay? Because if you guys look down in here, you'll see down in there, it's kind of a brown color, right? And that's because there's no light getting down there, all right? And so what happens, kikuyu grass, if it's cut too short, it will actually come down and cut into the crown and into these stolons, or a little bit too low, and it scalps and it leaves like these brown streaks. It comes back pretty quickly, but it scalps because it grows so aggressively and kind of mounds over itself and gets kind of spongy. If you guys walk on this, it's a little bit more spongy. Right now, it's actually a good time of the year. It's pretty tight, but it's kind of spongy compared to most other grasses, okay? So feel free to walk on these, step on them, do whatever you need to do, because this is what turf grass is all about. It's about people stepping on the grass and utilizing the grass, okay? And that's the difference between turf grass and other normal grasses, ornamental grasses, okay? Turf grass is mowed short and used to either be walked on, have a picnic on, play soccer, play golf, baseball, football, whatever it may be, okay? And that's the difference between turf grass and just some other type of grass, all right? It's basically, it's not a species, but it's what you do with the grass, okay? So it's mowed frequently, and there's often traffic on it for either athletic events or any kind of other social event. Okay? So this is kikuyu grass here, all right? Now if you guys look on your map, the next one here, this is hybrid Bermuda grass, and as you come on it, it's a little bit tighter, you can feel it. It's a tighter knit, it's kind of like a nice little carpet, and it's very finely textured. Finely textured means it's very thin. All right, and you guys can go down and look right in here, right? Right now, at this time of the day, there's a lot of dew, and so that the grass is kind of wet. As it dries up throughout the day, Bermuda grass will kind of have a bluish hue to it, kind of a green-blue hue. Not as dark green as some of the other grasses you're used to, but it also has kind of a dry feel to it. Bermuda grass is very drought tolerant. Okay, most of these warm season grasses are drought tolerant, and they use about 20% less water than cool season grasses. And cool season grasses are the majority of the grasses that are in our landscapes today, okay? Especially in Southern California and residential lawns. So it's very important, if you want to save water, use a warm season grass. But generally, warm season grasses during this time of year, they will be brown and dormant, similar to some of these over here, some of the buffalo grass that we're going to look at in just a minute. But this year, it's been pretty good. Our Bermuda grass still looks pretty decent. So if you had a Bermuda grass lawn right now, it still looks pretty decent, especially if you were able to fertilize it pretty heavily, okay? This is Bermuda grass. And if you move over here, okay, this is also Bermuda grass. This is a common Bermuda grass. It's a little bit more sparse, okay? Doesn't look as nice. The one we were just on is a hybrid Bermuda grass, okay? It's a hybrid, and it's been bred for its characteristics, for it's very finely textured, it grows very tight, and it looks very nice, okay? This common Bermuda grass is just kind of a more wild type. It gets a little more sparse. It can look pretty good during the growing season, okay? During the summer, but it just doesn't look as good as the hybrid Bermuda grass, all right? And when it comes to golf, it's much better to putt on that stuff, okay? Or even to have that in the fairway versus something like this, okay? It's a lot tighter surface, the ball's gonna roll on it a lot better, okay? So that's hybrid Bermuda grass and common. All right, this stuff that looks really weedy and really patchy, well, it is weedy, okay? There's common Bermuda grass that's coming in between this, okay? But most of it that's in here, that's kind of that brownish color, that's actually buffalo grass. And it's gonna be really hard to identify right now because it's dormant. But buffalo grass is our only native grass that we use as a turf grass species, okay? There are other types of bluegrasses and fescues, but really buffalo grass is one of our North American natives, all right? And its best use is on a low maintenance type of area. Okay? It kind of has a bluish color. It goes dormant during the winter, and it grows very well during the summertime. But it's a slower grower. It doesn't grow as aggressively as kikuyu grass or Bermuda grass, okay? But it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. You can let it grow as tall as you want it to, and it only gets about 6 to 8 inches tall, and this just kind of lays over. So if you don't want to mow it all year long, you can do that. Also, it doesn't take a lot of water. It takes less water than Bermuda grass sometimes, all right? But the thing about this, because it's more hasn't been cultivated for as long, at least in my experience, when you drought it down and you reduce the amount of water, there's kind of a fine line, and it will go dormant during the summer as well if it does not have enough water. So you got to kind of watch that. Bermuda grass will come back very quickly when you give it enough water. Buffalo grass does not do that as much. Okay. The other thing is, it's important to note that warm season grasses, they like the heat, they like the sun, they do not like the cold, and they do not like shade. Okay, so if you put a warm season grass in an area that's going to get shade for a large portion of the day, it's going to be very sparse, very thin. You're getting a lot of weeds in it. It's going to be very difficult grass to manage in that type of area. Okay, so this is buffalo grass. Yeah, basically it. Okay. All right, this grass here that's being protected right now, for some reason, that's the favorite of our local rabbits. Okay, this is seashore paspalum. You guys can walk in here just over the cage. And you can look at the seashore paspalum. It looks a lot like that hybrid Bermuda grass, but in my opinion, I think it's actually a little bit better. It doesn't have a dry feel to it. Okay, it's very salt tolerant. This is something that you can use on the coast if you get a lot of sea spray and things like that. There are golf courses in Mexico and across the world that literally irrigate with ocean water on this seashore paspalum. Okay, if you're going to irrigate with ocean water, though, you have to make sure you have a very sandy soil. It doesn't hold all of that salt in there. Okay, but it can be irrigated with ocean water. It doesn't do very well here. If you try to irrigate with ocean water, it actually probably die. But this is a very salt tolerant and drought tolerant grass. Okay, not as drought tolerant as Bermuda grass, but definitely has a better color and a better feel to it. Okay, and this is one of my favorites, seashore paspalum. Okay, you guys get that? Seashore paspalum. And so, if you guys look, these are replicates. Okay, so this is the same as the others, and as we over there. All right, this last one here. Yeah, this is gonna be the last one. Actually, no, we'll talk about another one. So this is actually, yeah, watch out for that chicken wire. Okay. This one is actually, the common name would be Japanese lawn grass or Korean lawn grass. Okay, but this is actually Zoysia japonica. Okay, and Zoysia has a more coarse texture, but it also is very drought tolerant. The downside to Zoysia grass, okay, is that it grows kind of slowly. So if you have a lot of traffic, you have a lot of kids playing on it, if you want to play soccer on it, whatever it may be, okay, it does not knit together as quickly and grow back as fast as Bermuda grass. Okay, this works really well in a low maintenance area that has a lot of sun and not a lot of traffic. But this is a pretty good grass as well, okay, for drought tolerance. Okay. So this grass here is suffering a little bit because of all the leaf litter that's on it. It doesn't like shade, just like all the other warm season grasses, but it tolerates shade the best. So if you're going to be in an area that needs very low water use, okay, but you know that it's going to get shade in at least a little portion of the day, okay, then St. Augustine, this is what this is, St. Augustine grass, this is the most shade tolerant warm season grass. Okay, so if somebody wants a really like uniform lawn, but they want the grass to go underneath the canopy of a tree, and they have to have really, you know, drought tolerant grass, okay, St. Augustine is probably your best selection for that, okay, because it's more shade tolerant. It's not as shade tolerant as the cool season grasses that we'll see, but it's the most shade tolerant. Okay, let's see here. Martha, this is. All right. Any questions about that? All right. Okay, so this is St. Augustine. This is St. Augustine. Right here, move all the leaf litter. You see, this is a little bit tighter. Okay, this is that Japanese lawn grass, Zoysia grass. Okay, but this is a hybrid. It's a lot tighter. It's a lot neater. The texture of the leaves is a lot finer. Okay. So that's Zoysia grass. All right, this is not turf management, so I'm not going to go into the identification of these grasses so much. All right, but that's one of my specialties. But this has a very unique seed head. It kind of comes up. It's kind of a small seed head, but elongated, and it's kind of a reddish color. And that's what Zoysia grass seed looks like. Okay, that's all. So that's a way you can identify that as well. Okay. Anyways, all right. This is zoysia grass. Okay. So you can pause it right there if you want.